Hello everyone. In this video we're going to look at some of the settings inside Makerbot print. So first thing you want to do is get your model into the program, which this you should have already done from the last video. So we're just going to look at print settings here. First of all is orientation, so you can flip this around different ways to make sure you have the right part on the right side. So I want the bottom down. Then you can scale, so you can make this bigger or smaller. Using this, you can type in percentages or actual numbers. All right, and then arrange will just organize your shapes on the build plate. Okay, print settings. So these are all quick settings. I usually don't use this menu. I go down to custom settings so I can see everything in one place. So we're just going to go through these and take a look at these. This one, you're not going to need to change. Extruder, not going to need to change. Roofs, probably not going to need to change. Shells, this you can change. I usually do not do a fixed shell start. So this will start at different places, and so you won't see a seam. You can do this, which will choose a part of the project that won't be as easily to see the seam. Don't change that, don't change that. Layer height you can change. So if you increase the layer height, that will speed up the print time, but it won't look as nice in the end. And number of shells you can change. One shell will be small, more delicate. These will be more strong. 2 shells is usually enough for most things. This could be good if you're doing a prototype, 1 shell. Okay, infill we can change. I would leave these two the same, but you can change the density. So 10% is default. You can go anywhere from 3 up to 20. Again, the higher percentage, the stronger it is. The lower percentage, the weaker, but the more quickly it'll print and the less material it will use. And the pattern you can change. I don't know the differences between all of these as far as strength or speed, but this is the fastest, and the other ones I'm assuming are stronger. Floors, don't need to change. Supports and bridging. So a bridge is where the part touches the plate in 2 places, and then there's a gap in between. So think about it like a bridge, right? If you want to add supports under those, you check this, and you need to make sure at the very bottom you add a support type to be breakaway. Okay, if you don't want that, which that's going to add a lot of extra material, then you can turn that off, and you just have to design it so that you don't need that. Support angle, that's a good default to keep. And density, you can probably turn that down to about 10 or so if you're using that support material. And model spacing. So on the prototype, if it's really hard to get the support material off, we can change that. Okay, last thing is base layer. So there's 2 different types, a raft and a padded base. A raft will print material underneath what you're making, and a padded base will just make the actual base of your component a bit thicker. The raft uses more material because it's printing a whole nother piece. The padded base is a little bit tricky depending on what your project looks like. I usually try to use a padded base when I can. So if I do use a padded base, then the settings we need to look at are the fan cooling speed on the first model. This needs to go to 50, and this needs to go to 10. Otherwise, your base won't stick very well. Sorry, 10. Then the other thing for the padded base is, actually that's it. Okay, so those 2 things, I would change those, and then that should be okay. For the raft, you probably don't need to adjust any settings. The only thing you could do if on your prototype it's really hard to remove your project, you could change the vertical offset here. And that will make it a little easier to remove.